right, mates. Welcome back. It's Finn here. When you think of Britain, what pops into your head? The land of gentlemen? Buckingham Palace? Absolute rubbish. That's just a marketing matrix we built to fool the world. Honestly, my British passport might get shredded after this. Today, I am exposing the 6 savage truths that British people will never admit. If you don't hit subscribe right now, you're legally obligated to eat British food forever. Let's get into it. 1. Our food is bloody awful. First up, let's talk about food. Tell a Brit our food is terrible, and they will angrily shout that fish and chips is elite. Let's get real. Coating cheap fish in flour batter and dropping it into old grease is not cuisine. It is a cry for help. It has zero seasoning, which is why we drown it in salt and vinegar just to swallow it. And the funniest part? The soul food Brits actually eat every week isn't even British. It's chicken tikka masala, an Indian curry. Our government literally declared it a British national dish. Taking someone else's curry, dumping cream in it, and calling it ours is an absolute shambles. 2. We aren't polite. We're passive-aggressive second. Brits pride themselves on being polite gentlemen. Walk down London and you'll hear sorry and pardon me every 2 seconds. But don't be fooled. That is not kindness. It is chronic hypocrisy and weaponized passive-aggressiveness. When a Brit says very interesting, they mean that is completely boring. When they say with all due respect, they mean you have the IQ of a wet cabbage. And if they tell you I might join you later, it means I would rather watch paint dry than see your face. We don't have the spine to disagree to your face, so we invent sophisticated linguistic traps to insult you while smiling. We are just socially anxious sociopaths. 3. The British Museum is a stolen goods depot. Third truth, and this one hurts. Tourists love the British Museum because entry is free. Of course it is free. If we charged admission, that would be illegal profiteering on stolen goods. How many artifacts in that building actually came from Britain? Like 1%. The Rosetta Stone from Egypt, the Parthenon marbles from Greece, and thousands of treasures were flat out looted from former colonies. When those countries ask for their assets back, we tell them they can't look after them properly, so we are keeping them safe. The audacity. Imagine stealing your neighbor's television and keeping it because you dust it better than they do. That is the peak British mindset. 4. We whinge about weather, but refuse. AC 4th. 80% of British conversation is complaining about the weather. But the peak of British stupidity happens in summer. The moment the temperature hits 30 degrees, the entire country collapses. Train tracks bend, the subway turns into a sweatshop, and people faint. Why? Because nobody has air conditioning. Not the houses, not the schools, not the trains. Every year, the news screams about historic heat waves, and instead of buying an AC unit, we just buy a cheap plastic fan and suffer in misery. We cope by saying, well, Britain is a cold country. It will pass. It is pure, stubborn delusion that leaves us frying every single year. 5. Afternoon. Tea is a grimy lie. 5th is the global obsession with afternoon tea. Everyone thinks we brew loose-leaf Earl Grey in silver teapots with our pinkies up. Let me tell you what a real British tea break looks like. It is called builder's tea. We take a massive chipped mug that hasn't been scrubbed in years, throw in a cheap tea bag, and pour boiling water over it. Then we mash the tea bag with a spoon, squeeze it, throw in 2 spoons of sugar, and dump cold milk from the fridge until it turns the color of a wet cardboard box. That is what we drink while shoving a cheap biscuit into our mouths before it breaks and falls to the bottom. Fancy afternoon tea is just a tourist trap. 6. The NHS is an absolute delusion. Finally, number 6. The holy grail of British pride is the NHS. We love bragging that our healthcare is free. But here's the reality. If you are sick and try to book an appointment, the waiting list is easily 2 weeks. Want to see a specialist? 6 months. Need a basic surgery? See you next year, mate. My mate had acute appendicitis and sat in an emergency room chair for 11 hours before a doctor even looked at him. What good is free health care if you pass away in the waiting room? Yet Brits aggressively defend it by saying, at least we aren't like America. It is the ultimate cope for a broken system. So there you have it, mates. 6 brutal truths about Great Britain that we hide behind royal weddings and Harry Potter. Did I shatter your illusions? Are you completely fuming in the comments? Drop your thoughts below and share this video with your British friends. Watch their faces turn red as they try to deny every single point. See you next time with more savage scripts. Cheers, mates. Bye-bye.